Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday Weed Waffle. This evening we're in my secret foraging lair, my evil genius place where I come up with all my daft ideas. Because as you may have noticed, especially if you're UK based, it's absolutely pitch black outside. So although I'm going to continue doing these Zoom calls, they'll have to change format a little bit. This evening, we're going to do a Q&A. I've got some emailed in questions. I've noticed that there doesn't appear to be any of the people that asked the questions online, so this will be recorded and be available anyway. In a slight divergence from the usual way of doing things, I'm just going to put this up on YouTube rather than putting it back behind a paywall, because it's just a Q&A, it's nothing specific. And yeah, then once I've finished going through the emailed in questions and my answers for them, then anyone who is here is welcome to unmute themselves and throw in any questions they have. Just for the sort of admin point moving forwards because of the dark evenings, next week I've scheduled a waffle about rose hips, which will be a combination of a little bit of recording done earlier in the day, and I'll bring some rose hip preparations into the office with me, and we can have a little bit of a talk about it indoors, and we'll see where we go from there. We might do some more Q&A sessions. We might do some cooking or preparation or fermenting sessions. We'll see what happens, but we'll get through these dark evenings one way or another. Excuse me, sorry, I've got a bit of frog in my throat. That's better. Yeah, so on to the emailed in questions. So the first one, I mean, these are all questions that I get asked quite a lot anyway, so it does no harm to record the answers and put them out there. The first question is, what laws and rules do you need to be aware of when foraging? And is it true that bylaws are popping up all over the place to stop people from foraging? So I want to start with a point of legal facts. First of all, everything that I'm going to tell you is based on UK laws and rules. If you're somewhere else in the world, you need to get to know the laws and rules for the part of the world that you're in. And everywhere in the world, ignorance of the law is no excuse. You have to know the law. In the UK, I want to deal with the whole subject of bylaws to begin with. Laws can get really confusing, especially around things like foraging. But the point of a bylaw, and this is noted, this is actual fact, the point of a bylaw is it's there to supplement or add to an existing law. It's not there to take away from laws. So a bylaw about which side of the road to use might tell you how far into the road you need to be, but it won't tell you that you have to switch to the other side of the road, because that would be against the original law, which is that you drive on the left in the UK. So that being said, bylaws that contradict your legal right to forage actually won't hold their weight in court. It's been tested and has been shown to be the case. And while we're on the subject as well, bylaws have to be enacted. I may not be entirely correct about this, but I believe bylaws have to be enacted by an elected body. So, for example, a company can't just come up with a bylaw for its land. It can come up with rules, but it can't come up with bylaws. You can't just make up a bylaw yourself. So let's get to the laws itself. Generally, what it boils down to is if you've got permission to be where you are, you can pick pretty much anything that doesn't cause permanent damage to the organism. I'm not going to go into the details of which laws and how they're exactly worded. That's what it comes down to. So unless you're digging up the roots of a plant or ripping off branches of trees, then you can pretty much forage whatever you like as long as you've got permission to be there. Um, so that would include leaves, flowers, fruit, seeds, fungus, so the fruiting body of fungus, the mushrooms, pretty much anything really. But that's just the law. Um, the law allows you to pick anything you like. Common sense and sustainability means that you need to give it a bit more thought. So, for example, if you come across a patch of, say, wild garlic, for example, picking all of the leaves of the wild garlic that you see is perfectly legal as long as you've got the right to be where you are. However, it's not a very sustainable way of doing things. It means that there's none left for any other foragers, be they human or animal. So it's not a very good, not a very responsible way of foraging. A lot of people use a 40% rule. So if they come across a patch of, for example, a hawthorn bush, they'll only take a maximum of 40% of the berries from the bush. Therefore, they're leaving 60% for other foragers, again, human or otherwise. And the other thing that I like to think of as well is if I'm thinking I need a pound of sloe berries, for example, and I come across one isolated bush that's only got about a pound on it, then I won't take that pound worth. In fact, I probably won't take any from that bush. I'll move on to somewhere where it's more abundant because we shouldn't be picking anything that isn't abundant anyway. Anything that's rare, we should be staying away from. And that's the other part of law. There are certain plants that are included in a schedule as rare or otherwise specially protected plants, and those ones you can't pick no matter what. Most of them aren't the sort of things that you'd pick for eating anyway, so I wouldn't get too worried about that. Um, yeah, so I've said that you can't pick anything that will do permanent damage to the organism. That's you can't do that without the landowner's permission. So, for example, you might want to dig up dandelion roots or burdock roots or clove roots, all really good, tasty roots. You're not allowed to without the landowner's permission. And this isn't a legal point, but I would temper that with a common sense point. So, for example, I used to dig up a lot of dandelion roots from my local green, local village green, which I knew no one was using any toxic chemicals on it. And I was stopped and asked what I was doing by local workers, council workers, and when I explained it to them, they were absolutely fine with it. So, yes, strictly speaking, I should have got permission first. But on the other hand, it's dandelions. No one really cares if you do have a few dandelions. Um, yeah, so that's the laws. Like I say, there are bylaws out there. Epping Forest, the City of London Corporation, and the New Forest have all enacted bylaws banning people from foraging, particularly from picking mushrooms, largely born out of a misunderstanding of how fungus works. But as I said, bylaws can't override and reverse the rule of law. So it has been tested in court and proved to be the case. Um, I want to also mention, along with all those rules and laws, if someone approaches you demanding that you stop what you're doing because it's against the law or it's against the rules, even if I know that I'm 100% in the right, that sort of approach from a person generally tells me that they're not going to be the sort of person that's going to listen to reason or have an educated argument. So, in that situation, without even bothering to explain my situation, my rule is I hold up my hands and say, I'm ever so sorry. I didn't realize I was doing something wrong. I promise I won't ever do it again. And then I go around the corner and do it somewhere else instead. It's not worth a fight over these things, unless you're really that sort of person that wants to have a fight and go to court and all that messing around. I can't be bothered with all of that. So that's laws and rules. I hope that's answered the question. Sorry, I really have got a bit of a frog in my throat tonight. Um, Another very common question that's come in is the best books and apps to use. Um, I would say if you're looking for something to use to give you the confidence to be able to eat what you're foraging, no app is good enough. None of them are. A lot of them are useful to help you on the beginning of your journey to identify a plant, but they shouldn't be the be all and end all. I, amongst many other people, have seen apps that have misidentified mushrooms and calling deadly mushrooms edible. I've seen giant hogweed seeds identified as hogweed seeds. Hogweed seeds, perfectly good, edible. Giant hogweed seeds, a little bit dangerous. So apps, absolutely not. There aren't any that you can rely on. Books, yeah. Sorry, I haven't prepared my books. Just give me a second. So you can see I've got quite a collection of books up there, as most foragers have. Um, Collins Gem books. This particular one's for mushrooms. You can get them. There's one called Food for Free as well, which are brilliant starter books, and they're like 5.99 or 6.99 or something. They're quite cheap, and they're pocket books. If I put it in my hand, look, you can see what size it is. It's the size of my palm. I put it in my pocket and go out. So in that respect, these books are absolutely brilliant because they're handy. You can just put them in your pocket. However, what you will find is that the pictures are actually very, very small. And for each plant or mushroom, you get one illustration and one photograph. It's not really enough to be able to identify something that you haven't come across before. So they're really good in that they're portable and they're cheap and they're quite functional, but they don't really go deep enough. Um, there are millions and millions of books you can buy, by the way. My recommendation for beginner books, and I have to say, my recommendation is because they're my books, basically. So I've created these foraging in England, Wales, and Scotland books. You can get different varieties. These are the Welsh ones. Um, they're seasonal, so I've got a spring book, summer book, autumn book, no winter book. Pretty much everything you can find in winter is covered in the spring and autumn books anyway, and a separate cookbook to accompany them. Um, the reason I'm recommending them is for beginners. I've set them out so in the first half of each book is very common information about principles, rules, some pictures of some common dodgy plants to look out for. And then each book has a second section, which find the contents page. Yeah, each book has a second section which has plants and mushrooms that you're going to find at those times of year. So this is the spring book. I've got wild garlic, garlic mustard, ground ivy, stinging nettles, ribwort plantain, cuckoo flowers, excuse me, bramble shoots, dandelion flowers, rosebay willow herb, common sorrel, and scarlet elf cups. So you've got a good handful of things that you're really, really likely to find in Wales or England or Scotland, whichever version you prefer. Um, and there's a really good handful of them. You're really likely to find those items. And each collection comes with its own cookbook. And each cookbook has got recipes for all of the things that you'll find in all of the other books. So there's elderflower cordial, scarlet elf cup mushroom and cuckoo flower soup, ground ivy chicken. These are some of my favourite recipes that I've made. Crab apple fruit leather, absolutely delicious ones. Anyway, these are £4.99 each or £14.99 for all four of them. When you start getting a really big collection of books like this, what you'll start to find is that each time you buy a new book, there's maybe only one or two things in there that you've never heard before. But as a forager, we become obsessive, and I just have to buy the new books anyway. Anyway, these books are out there. They're on my website. If you can't find them, drop me a line. I'll happily show you. I'll also happily share about other books. One thing to bear in mind with books is there have been a few incidents recently of AI produced foraging books that have led to mushroom poisonings. So AI is producing books now, or rather, should I say, people are using AI to produce books, and they don't really, they're either not checking them or they're not informed enough to be able to say whether they're correct or not. So when looking for books, you want to look for either ones that have come through a book publisher. Book publishers will make a lot of effort to make sure that their books aren't incorrect because they know they'll get sued for it. Or if you're going to go down the self-published route, like my books, make sure they're from a forager whose name you recognize and you respect, or a member of the Association of Foragers. Yeah, so that's books. Um, I've got a couple of questions come up that are really, they're quite simple to answer, and the answers seem really dismissive. So I want to just let you know that I'm not being dismissive, I promise. So I'm often asked, when is the best time to go foraging? Um, and the answer is whenever it suits you best, because there's always something out there. Even in the deep of winter, there are some plants, for example, garlic mustard or ground ivy, have a natural antifreeze in them, so they're not affected by frost. So you can find them all year round. In the spring, you've got all the herbs and flowers. In the summer, you've got the beginnings of fruits and still the fruits and roots. And then in the autumn, you've got seeds, some more fruit and roots. There's always something out there to be got. Personally, the height of summer, I find, is probably the least good time to be out there because everything starts to get dried and really difficult to find something useful. And that goes along with the other question I'm asked, which are the best places to go looking for things? Well, all the places have different advantages. Riversides are good for finding plants that like a wet environment. Woodland are good for plants and mushrooms that like shaded environment. The seaside, the coastal areas have some great foraging, not to mention all the seaweed that you can find. So again, it's whatever's either near you or whichever you've tried and prefer. So you just need to get out there all different times, all different environments, try them all and see what you like. Um, so my final one of the pre-submitted questions is how it's the question that I asked when I was first beginning. It was, how the bloody hell do you remember so much? How do you know so much? And there's two answers to that. One is many years of studying and learning and repetition, and the other is is the development of a system for learning. It's not my system. It's a system that I've heard from many different people, and I've developed into a way that works really well for me. It's a system that means that I can very quickly decide a grouping that this particular plant or mushroom is going to be in, which immediately catapults me way ahead and allows me to get to an identification really quickly. I'm not going to say a lot more on the subject because it's actually part of a new product that I'm launching in December. It's a new course. It'll be starting in January, and it's a foraging for wild food and drink masterclass, which will include my system of identifying trees, plants, and mushrooms. It's going to include webinars and workbooks and quizzes and live stuff and cooking demonstrations and all sorts of preparations and things that you can do with your wild food. And it basically it's there to be able to take you in the space of a year from your average forager who knows a handful of things to an expert forager who can identify thousands of things, but also knows what to do with all of those things as well. Anyway, that's enough of the sales pitch because it's not quite ready for sale yet. But keep an eye on your emails. There will be something coming out quite soon. So that's all of the pre-submitted questions. I see none of the people have come online for that. So I hope you'll see it in the recording. I hope I've covered everything that you wanted to know. Um, if anyone out there wants to unmute and say hello and give me their questions, you're very welcome.
I can say hello, but I don't have any questions.
Oh,
Can you?
that's no problem. Thank you for saying hello.
Other
Well,
than, did you get my last email? Because you didn't reply to it.
oh, sorry. I have been away for a while, so I may have
Yeah,
missed
I think this was
an
before
email.
you went away. You replied to the first one, but not to the second one.
Ah,
So, which
okay.
actually you did ask. I mean, one of my questions, what in it was, is this a good time to do it? Which
Right.
I assumed when you would say exactly what you just said. And really, you need to have a session, I guess, at least every couple of months to do
Yeah, yeah,
the whole year.
yeah. Ideally, yes. But there's nothing to stop you once you've got the basic ideas. There's nothing to stop you getting out there all throughout the year yourself. And
Yeah,
and
well,
actually, there's
I do mainly in my garden, to be quite honest.
mm,
I've got a big garden, so if I see a weed I don't know, I leave it and then until usually it's got a flower or something, and then do it
mm,
that way. Um,
yeah, and that's a very slow way of doing it because
yeah,
you learn about the plant in its different growth stages, but it's also a brilliant way of learning because that knowledge tends to stick in your mind if you take it nice and slow and get to know plants properly.
yeah. My memory isn't my strongest trait, so that usually works.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
also, it means
yeah,
I don't need to go out, so I can do it every
yeah,
day almost, really, because I'm, well, I'm out there nearly every day.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Am I a bit
the
quiet?
more sorry,
Am I a bit quiet?
yeah, a little bit.
Is that any
It's
better? Is that any better?
yeah, I think there's a little bit of interference, but it's okay. I can just about make you out.
It's Mid
Yeah, so the
Wales
more often,
internet, super slow
yeah.
broadband.
Yeah, yeah. I'm very lucky that we've got decent broadband here, but yeah, I know it's quite difficult in a lot of places. Yeah, so the more often you get out, even if it is just in your garden, the more often, the more you get to know the plants, the more you get to get a feel of where they like to grow and how they like to grow. And excuse me, sorry. Yeah, and the more you do that, the more confident you become, the more likely you are to recognize more things when you're out and about as well.
Yeah. And also sometimes I go on the one of the Facebook pages that says, "What's this?"
Mm.
And that's quite useful too.
Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of those Facebook pages around. The only thing I would say is be aware of who's giving you answers, because there are
Well, I
some
can then,
people that are,
as long as I've got a name, I can then check it out, though, can't I?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
if I haven't got a starting point, I can't.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's the same as the apps. It's a good starting point, but I wouldn't rely on some random stranger on the internet giving you an answer to be good enough for you to then put it in your mouth and eat it.
no, 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 I wouldn't do that. But as it was, the last thing I put on was it was an international Facebook page, and it was put on by somebody I know in Landrindod, answered by someone I know in Landrindod. So it's,
Oh,
you
oh
know,
wow, that's yeah, small world.
well, but I think she's a herbalist or something. So I figured,
Hmm. Yeah, so regarding actual face-to-face foraging walks, yes, there's still stuff going on now, probably right up until close to the end of November. Um, and then starting again probably February time would be the best, maybe late February.
Okay, so you
Um,
don't do right through the winter. You don't. Well, it could be snow, couldn't there? Apart from anything else.
yeah, yeah, and I've done foraging walks organised by other people where I've come in and done the walk, and they've organised them in December or January, and after an hour or so, you've got a group of 12 people looking at you, um, either looking like they want to murder me or like they've had enough and they just want to go home because it's so cold and wet and
Oh,
horrible.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't put on something like
No,
that. It's
we're
just
talking November then, aren't we?
yeah,
We're
it's
going
just
to do
not a fun experience for people.
it.
But yeah, the way I do it, if you or anyone else is interested, what I tend to do is if you contact me and say, "Hey, we'd like to do a 3 hour walk and in this area, and these are the times we've got free," then I'll agree a time and a date with you, and then I'll open it up to the public. What I don't do is I
Yes,
don't publish dates that I'm going to do
yeah.
foraging walks and then hope that people will book
Somebody
on them.
turns up. Yeah. Are you fairly
Yeah.
flexible around dates and times?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I am. I tend to prefer weekdays, but weekends are okay as well.
Okay.
And obviously at this time of year, it needs to be a bit earlier on in the day rather than late in
Yeah.
the day.
Yes. Yeah. My issue is I've got an awkward stomach, so I figured we didn't particularly want the cooking part of it, just the foraging part of it.
Yeah, yeah, and that would be a good start. And then if need be, yeah, we could. And then if you were interested, we could move on to something else, maybe in time when you've got used to understanding what foraged food works for you and what doesn't.
Yeah. 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 Fair enough.